the shimmering star sky is keeping the galactic world on tenterhooks. For the first time ever, specialists have now prevailed in creating a detailed representation of a star beyond the Milky Way. Incredibly, the specialists found that the distant monster star is shockingly surrounded by an egg-shaped dust cover and that it has much more in common with the heavenly giant Betelgeuse than previously accepted. But we shouldn't forget that the amazing star observations of these days are not always recorded exclusively by astronomical experts, but sometimes also by simple amateur stargazers who then share their exceptional pictures with the rest of the world. It doesn't necessarily need to be NASA's super advanced instruments, because we should be honest, who needs a James Webb telescope when you can have a 13-year-old YouTube clip instead? What might sound a bit unexpected at first reminds us in this moment that it is also possible for us, the average consumer, to marvel at the wondrous designs of the universe in their intricate details, conveniently, without a cosmologist's profession. Uploaded by user Android Craftsman in September 2011, the telescope image shows us a vivid celestial body that shimmers almost colorfully. But which object are we really seeing here? Well, the video of Sirius shows us, in fact, the brightest star in the whole night sky, measured in magnitude. This amounts to nothing less than a glowing design with an apparent brightness of about 1.46 magnitudes. Or, perhaps, one of the two, because strictly speaking, Sirius is a binary star system, consisting of a main sequence star of spectral type A1 and a much smaller and less luminous white dwarf. However, despite its limited size, Sirius B, which is about the size of Earth, is of remarkable significance in the realm of cosmic research. No wonder, after all, no other white dwarf is as close to the solar system as this one. Thus, Sirius B is also one of the most intensely studied white dwarfs of all, which has helped experts describe this fundamentally very compact type of old star. But noticing Sirius B can be incredibly tricky at times because, as mentioned earlier, there is also Sirius A, which literally surpasses its modest companion every which way. Found just 8.7 light-years away in the constellation Canis Major, or the Big Dog, we are dealing with a real cosmic youngling. While our Sun, with no guarantees, has already been around for 4.6 billion years, Sirius first saw the light of the cosmic world just 225 to 250 million years ago. However, despite its youth, our central star is clearly beaten by its celestial partner. On the one hand, there is the fact that Sirius A is about 2.1 times more massive and 1.7 times larger than the Sun, and on the other hand, it also shines about 25 times brighter than our home star. Why Sirius is sometimes mistaken for a UFO, with this brilliant background, is clear. The glowing ruler of the night sky wasn't just added to the star charts yesterday with the help of the most current telescopes, but played an important role even in ancient Egypt. When Sirius first appeared at sunrise, the inhabitants of the land of the pharaohs knew that the time of the Nile flood was drawing near. But if we now define a boundary from ancient times back to the present and recall the YouTube clip, the striking star blazing 2 rings a bell again. There is no doubt that this appears especially great up close. In reality, it also appears so striking to the naked eye that it repeatedly prompts UFO reports, no joke. In 2022 alone, Sirius was reported multiple times as an incomprehensible radio object. But what is the background to this captivating display? Well, where extraterrestrial spaceships have become outdated as an explanation, the Earth's atmosphere needs to serve instead, because the starlight has to pass through it. It gets refracted. And, in the case of a particularly bright star, the optical impression can sometimes appear to shimmer brilliantly or even move. With Sirius, there is also the fact that it doesn't rise far overhead, and since it stays somewhat low over the horizon, where the air turbulence is even greater, its alleged shimmer is intensified. Indeed, if you've now been inspired to see the UFO star with your own eyes, we have good news for you. At the start of December, Sirius is visible from around 10 p.m., and at the end of the month, it even appears in the eastern night sky at around 8 p.m., when you can also notice its blazing color change. The first close-up of another cosmic star. If you like, Sirius even appears close enough to touch in the old YouTube video. Of course, the world of such fascinating close-ups isn't limited to the field of amateur stargazers. Thanks to truly improving telescopes, It has also been possible for scientists to capture several stars and even exoplanets in detail in recent years. In this context, what was previously only a bright spot of light has been transformed into a diverse, vast understanding. But unfortunately, such close-up images are generally only acquired from celestial bodies that are both nearby and large, like the giant Betelgeuse or the famously popular Pole Star. However, when it came to objects that are far farther away from Earth, scientists were left searching in the dark for a long time. Well, up to this point, that is, because researchers have now, for the first time ever, managed to photograph a star that is situated far outside our Milky Way, and we mean really far. Plus, remind ourselves, Sirius is situated about 8.7 light-years away from our home planet, and with the knowledge that a light-year is about 9.46 trillion kilometers, we understand that this is a distance of no less than 82.3 trillion kilometers. A truly enormous distance, but one that pales into insignificance when we consider that the star caught on camera is actually 160,000 light-years from us. Known by its scientific name WG64, we are dealing with a red supergiant in the Large Magellanic Cloud, which has been the subject of extensive study in the past. Otherwise known as the Behemoth star, the heavenly giant tips the scales at an estimated 16 to 22 solar masses while being nearly 3 times bigger than our source of heat and life. Moreover, previous observations had already shown that WG64 was expelling massive amounts of gas and dust from its swollen core. In detail, such a loss of mass through an enhanced cosmic wind amounts to nothing more than the impending supernova of the red supergiant. In an astronomical context, the word impending means that it will probably take between 1,000 and 10,000 years for it to exit the cosmic stage in a violent blast. So, there is enough time to take a few snapshots of the aging star, and this is exactly the achievement that the team led by Kei Onaka of Andre Spo College in Chile has now accomplished for the first time ever. To do this, the specialists used the gravity instrument on the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope in Chile, with the instrument using data in the near and mid-infrared range for the purpose. The result was a notable image that confirmed what had already been thought. The hidden red supergiant is, without a doubt, surrounded by an immense dust ring, leaving little doubt that it is nearing the final stages of its celestial life. At the same time, however, the image also revealed that the dust and gas shell has a completely different shape than previously suggested by earlier models and observations. Surprisingly, it is egg-shaped, and researchers are still wondering how this extended shape came about. One theory is that the star ejected the material from its core unevenly during an especially huge eruption. However, the egg shape may also be due to the influence of a previously unknown companion star, the place where WG64 looks like Betelgeuse, but this was by no means the only surprise the star photograph had in store for the specialists. In fact, a closer examination showed that WG64 has changed significantly over the last 10 years, or more precisely, its near-infrared radiation has increased substantially during this time. The scientists explained this fact by the large dust masses that have formed around the star during this period, which intriguingly also makes WG64 reminiscent of Betelgeuse. And while the giant star belonging to the Milky Way is 3 times the diameter and 3 times the luminosity of the Sun, its extragalactic partner first gathers the expelled material into simple grains of aluminum oxide and magnesium silicates. Once silicates containing iron have chosen the dust grains, the grains absorb more radiation, which ultimately increases the near-infrared radiation produced by the heated dust. Meanwhile, the actual star appears increasingly dark, invisible to light. Here, too, the specialists draw a comparison with Betelgeuse, which has also been subjected to extreme dips and brightness in the past. In fact, there was even speculation that this was a harbinger of an impending supernova. However, most researchers now attribute this development to the effects of a dust shell. Nevertheless, the case of WG64 is somewhat different. The specialists emphasized that the supergiant is one of the most powerful known of its kind and that any unusual change could be a further step toward a cosmic explosion. The great change in your subscription status won't help you ever miss another video from us again, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button now to stay up to date. From now on, we'll see you soon.